Welcome to the session. I'm really pleased that you've turned up. What we're going to do is start off doing a little bit of mobilisation, so working top down, just getting all the muscles moving very slowly, very gently, just loosening up. We'll then come into a little bit of a warm-up, get the heart rate raised, get the breathing rate raised, get you feeling a little bit warmer. We'll do those two bits for about 10 minutes. We'll then come on to a little bit of a circuit where we'll be rotating around a cardio exercise, so one that should get your breathing rate a little bit harder, an upper body exercise and a lower body exercise. The way we'll do that is the cardio exercises we'll do for a maximum of a minute. But all that means is that if all you want to do today is 15 seconds and then use the other 45 seconds to recover, that's absolutely fine. And I would rather that you took it gently, particularly this first time if you haven't done a lot for a while. Just to see, because it's not necessarily how you feel today, it could be how you feel in the morning as well. We'll then come on to some core and pelvic floor exercises, a few balance exercises, and then we'll do a stretch. So the whole session will take about an hour. A couple of safety points. Make sure that you can see me so you can see what I'm doing, and try and make sure that you can see me by looking directly ahead, because what I don't want you to do is have to be doing exercises here, turning to see me, and then you end up losing your balance. So try and make it easy to see me. Ideally, I want to see you, and I can for all the people that are signed on, so that's perfect. So I can just check that you're doing the exercises in the most effective way. Effort, we're going to use rate of perceived exertion. Chart. On the recording, when I'm looking at it, it looks like I've got it as mirror writing, but hopefully you can see that. So we have a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is resting, so it's probably pretty much as you are now. Where we want to get to is a level 4. So that means that you can feel that your heart rate might have increased a little. You can feel your breathing rates increased a little. You can still talk though. You can speak in full sentences. You might not be able to sing. So working at that level, you'll get the benefits of what we're doing, but it won't take too much out of you. It won't increase. You shouldn't be in too much pain tomorrow or anything like that. So I will kind of say, just think about your rate of perceived exertion. Are you at a level 4? Just as a reminder. Okay, hopefully you've all got water. If you have got a chair available, that's brilliant. Don't work through any pain. So if anything hurts, take the easier option. Just reduce your range of movement, or just keep your feet moving until that exercise is through. And last one sounds obvious, remember to breathe. And occasionally I will say, keep breathing, because some of it's quite easy to forget to breathe because you're concentrating. And particularly for those of you with high blood pressure, just make sure that you're keeping breathing. Okay, ready to go? Thumbs up if you're okay. Marvellous. Right, so we'll start with the mobilisation. So standing up if you're going to stand up, and it looks like everybody is standing up, so that's perfect. So start with your feet together and then bring your toes out to 45 degrees, heels out to join them. I want you to imagine that you've got a piece of string starting on the pubic bone. It's coming all the way through the body, so you're just lengthening up through the body out to the top of the head, standing up as tall as you can. Roll your shoulders forwards, circle them up to your ears. Take them back, round and down. And again, bring your shoulders forwards, up to the ears. You might hear a little bit of grinding if you haven't done this for a while. Back and down. And then as you bring them down, you're trying to lower the shoulder blades down, so you've just got a nice long neck. Okay, so we're going to start at the top. Take your breath in. As you breathe out, just turn your head to the right. Try and keep everything else really still. Breathe in back to the middle. Just imagine you following a horizon with the eyes. Out to the left. Back into the middle. Over to the right. Back to the middle. And to the left. Back to the middle, and then just drop your chin down onto your chest. You should feel a stretch down the back of the neck. Just going to hold that for a second. And then breathe in, look straight ahead. And then just tip your head back, looking at the ceiling. And back to the centre. So we're going to do a few more shoulder circles. Now we're going to go forwards. And again, if you haven't done this for a while, it might grind. As long as it doesn't hurt, that's okay. Go as big a range of movement with those shoulders as you can. And then changing direction. And again, this time we're going to slide the shoulder blades down, so you're creating that nice long neck. And then with the right arm, just let it float up to the ceiling, nice and slowly. You're practicing keeping the shoulder down as the arm comes up. And back down. And then on the other side, I'm just going to let somebody else in. And then just floating up. Morning. And again. Now we're going to do both arms together, but this time we're going to come out wide into a big circle. So floating up. And then just opening out, trying to reach the edges of your room. And back down. Do 2 more. Okay. Make sure you've still got your feet hip width apart. Now we're going to do some rotations, just get the spine moving in a rotating direction. So bring the arms forwards, elbows out wide. Now for this one, if you do have osteoporosis or any spine issues, let your hips move with your shoulders. Otherwise, keep the hips forwards and just turn the shoulders. It's not a big move, you're just trying to get a little bit of a twist through the torso. Breathe out as you come out to the side. Breathe in back to the middle. Don't worry too much about that. The main thing is just to keep breathing. That's good. And just keeping the shoulders nice and low still. 1 more each way. Back to the middle. Bring the arms back down to the sides. Okay, now, this is where Pilates training comes out. We use a lot of visualizations. So imagine that you've got an itch on the side of your right leg. You're just sliding down, scratch that itch. And back up. So you want to keep your weight equal on both feet. So just think about what your feet are doing. You're still trying to lengthen up really tall and just get a bit of a stretch down this side. That's good. Nice. 1 more each way. And then bring the hands back up onto the hips. So we're going to start on the lower body now. I'll just take a step back. You do something called a half moon. So you point it, if you need to hold on, do. So if your balance is a little bit shaky, just hold on to a chair or a wall. Bring the right foot forward, toes pointed, and then coming out to the side in a quarter moon position and bring it back in. So stay on the same side. Now, if you want to make it harder, you just take that foot off the floor. So you're still pointing forwards, but you're having to use more balance. Okay, still standing up really tall. So imagine that your pelvis is a bucket of water. You want to make sure that you're not tipping the water out of the side. And changing sides. So really stretching out that leg, and as the leg comes out to the side, you're just stretching into the inner thigh as well. We'll do one more. And then coming into just treading grapes. Stretch. Oh, I don't know if you heard that cracking. Quite a few things cracked then. So stretching out the ankle, working the calves. Okay, so mobilise the things that we're going to use. We're going to start coming into a bit of a warm-up. So from this treading grape position, just come into a gentle walk on the spot, letting the arms swing, picking the feet off the floor. We're then going to pick that up a little bit for those that are happy to, so the knees coming a little bit higher, elbows are coming back more, so you're just increasing the range of movement. So we're going to use marching as our base for the cardio, but we're then going to, or for the warm-up, but we're going to try some of the exercises that we'll be using throughout the session, so just to get you used to them. First one is swing and sway. So take a wider stance, and this time, just transferring weight one side to the other, just letting the arms come up to the side. And then you can make that harder by having a bit of a dip in the middle. Because the arms are now going overhead, you might feel that breathing rate's just increasing a little bit, but make sure to stay at that level 4. And then we're going to come back just to marching. Now you can either use that as a recovery, in which case just take it a little bit lower. If you need to come back down to 4, you need to go up to 4, you just make it a little bit bigger. The next one we're going to come into is called Spotty Dog, no idea why. And I'll show you side on. So we're just going to take opposite arm and leg. So one leg you're tapping back, opposite arm you're bringing forwards. Again, if you need to just support yourself, just do one side while you're holding on and then change. So it's a bit of a coordination challenge as well. So that's all good. And back to marching. And again, if you're still feeling okay, you can get those knees a little bit higher, get the arms moving a little bit more. And then we're going to come into a half jack. So this time, again, starting from that position, you're bringing one arm, one leg out to the side. So to make it a little bit easier, just bring the arm up to shoulder height. Make it harder, take the arm up higher towards the ceiling. Still try and keep up really tall. Remember that string pulling us up to the ceiling? So everything else is staying up tall, just that arm and leg coming out to the side. Last one on each side. And back to marching. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're doing okay? Lovely, thank you. Okay, and then the last one we're going to do in this warm-up is a box step. So just imagine you've got a box laid out on the floor in front of you, and you're going to step on each of the corners in turn. So you're going forward, forward, back, back. So you have a slightly wider stance. You're just taking the front 2 corners of the box, back 2 corners of the box. And then another coordination challenge. Can you change the lead leg? Well done. Two more. And just back to a gentle march this time. So is everybody feeling that they're warm enough to move on to the main circuit session? Yeah, excellent. Okay, so the first cardio exercise we're going to do, and so we'll do these for up to a minute. So I've got a timer. Doesn't mean you have to do them for a minute. You can use some of that time to recover. So the first one is marching. If you want to make it harder, you can do a pull down. If you want to do it from sitting, you can still march from a sitting point of view. Okay? So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, and off we go. So just work at whatever level enables you to get and stay to about that level 4. So moderately hard, but you can still have a conversation. So you've done 15 seconds already. It's good. We've got a good mix of people doing different things or different variations, which is perfect. You've done 30 seconds. You've done 45. Doing really well. 3, 2, 1, and stopping there. Brilliant. So our upper body exercise is bicep curls. If you have a band, I'll show you all the different variations. Just keep your feet moving while I demonstrate. So with a band, you stand on the band, elbows tucked into your waist, curling up either opposite arms or both together. If you have weights, obviously, very similar. Just keeping the elbows tucked in. One thing to note is if I come a little bit closer, as you come up, you only need to come to about here. You don't need to bring that arm right into the shoulder. So you're coming to about here. Okay? So we'll go for say 12 of these. So if you're standing again, just make sure you've got your feet hip width apart, and then we're just going to come up. You can either lead with the thumb to the ceiling, or you can do that turn halfway. If you don't have any weights or any suit, just do the range of movement only. And in that instance, grip as you're coming up, but spread the hands out wide, stretching as you come back down. So curling up and stretching out. Two more. So I probably be doing mine quite slowly, so you may have done a lot more than 12, but that's okay. And weights down. So the lower body exercise is a sit to stand or a squat. I'll show you sit to stand first. So you would sit on your chair. Just bring your feet back a little bit so they're a bit further back than the knees. Weight forward. Now, if you can do it without using your hands, just cross your hands over your chest, stand up, and then try and control it back down. So the coming down, you're really looking for that control. If you need to use your hands, have your hands pointing inwards on the thighs, weight forward, big press, and stand up. Okay? controlling that down. If you want to do a squat, have your feet slightly wider than shoulder width, and then just coming down, standing up, pushing the hips forwards. Safety point, make sure the knees are not coming too far forwards. Okay, so we're going to start for our minute. 3, 2, 1. Now, particularly this one, just take it nice and steady. Don't feel you have to go for the full minute. Make sure you keep breathing. Really good. You've done your 30 seconds already. Really good. Nice speed as well, good control. "45 seconds done." And stop. Just realise, yeah, that's fine. You did really well. So next one, we're going to do half jack. So that's the one we did in the warm-up, where we're just taking arm and leg out to the side. So to modify it for difficulty, to make it slightly easier if you need a bit of chance to recover, just keep it nice and low. If you're raring to go, you can be a little bit more dynamic about it. And we'll go in 3, 2, 1, off we go. So I'm just going to do it nice and moderately. Just keeping breathing. Making sure that you're staying around about that level 4. So you should feel that you can feel your breathing rate. Might get a bit warm, but you could still have a conversation. So you've done 30 seconds. Done 45. That's 3, 2, 1, and stop there. So our lower body exercise this time is heel raises. So it might help if you hold onto a chair or just onto the wall. What we're going to do is bring the heels off the floor, take them back down, and then try and lift the toes up so you're stretching your toes out. If you want to make it harder, you can do it single leg. Okay. And we'll go in 3, 2, 1, off you go. And again, you can still do that from a sitting point of view if you want to. If you are sitting, you just bring your forearms onto your knees. You've got a little bit of extra weight. Working the calves. Now, although this one looks easy, those calves can get quite tired. So if they feel tired, then just stop and wait for the next one. You've already done over 30 seconds. Remember to stretch the toes out as well. Last 5 seconds. And stopping there. So our upper body exercise in this round, don't run screaming from the room, it's press ups, but we're not getting down on the floor. We're going to do wall press ups. So hopefully I'm not going to hit myself on the shelf. Have your hands on the wall at shoulder width, and you're standing about arm's length from the wall. You're then bending at the elbow, and pushing back. Now, if you want to make that a little bit harder, I'm doing it on my chair, but I don't recommend that you do it on the chair because you don't know it might slip. But the back of a settee, for example, might be good. So you can make yourself just a bit more of an incline, doing it that way. Benefit of this, working the chest, but it's also putting weight through the bones in the wrist and the arm, so that we're strengthening them. Going 3, 2, 1. I think some of you have started already, but that's great. Fantastic. Really good. So as you're bending the elbows, try and keep your body in a straight line. So pull your tummies in, so that you might feel a bit of a stretch in the calf. You try and keep your heels on the floor. We've done 30 seconds. Brilliant. Just make sure you keep breathing. This is one of those where it's very easy to hold your breath. We've done 45. 3, 2, 1, and stopping there. Well done. Okay, so our cardio exercise this time, we're going to do a little bit of boxing. You can choose not to think of it like that. You can choose to think of it as a reaching forwards. If you're standing, have your dominant leg back and just have the toes pointing out to the side, and bring your hands up towards your chin. You're not clenching your fists, you're keeping quite a loose grip. Lowering the knees, and then just in turn. So the faster you go, or the more forcefully you go, the harder it will be. Same count from sitting down. You can just do it that way. I better start the clock. Doing brilliantly. So if you've had a bad day, you can just take it out on a little bit of hitting. It's quite a nice one for getting a smile to people's faces, this one. We're halfway through, or we've done 30 seconds. Just make sure you're staying at that level 4. You've done 45. That's 3, 2, 1, and stopping there. That was brilliant. So our next exercise for the upper body is for the back, and it's rowing. If you have a band, do this one from the seated position. I'll show you the band version first. So you would put the band over both feet, under both feet rather. Elbows tucked into your body again, thumbs to the ceiling, and then you're just pulling the elbows back. Breathe out as you pull. If you have weights or just doing a body weight version, you're just going to lean forwards a little bit. So you can do it one side at a time, just rest your hand on the chair. And then the idea is to get that elbow up high. So the weight is just hanging down to the ground, elbow up high. I can tell you when you're halfway through, and then you can swap arms. Off you go. So I'm just going to come and watch so that I can check, because this one can be a little bit tricky. So weight to the floor, elbow up high. So if you lean forwards a little bit, Val, that's it. If you're doing the standing one with the band, have 1 foot forward, and then do it that way. Because it then gives you the room to work that part of the back. That's good. Now, So just make sure the wrist doesn't come like that. Keep the wrist strong. So just the elbow comes up, wrist stays in line. That's it. Lovely. You've got 10 seconds left. Sorry, I didn't get to tell you when you were halfway through. You're doing really well. Good. And stopping there. Okay, so the lower body exercise is a split squat. So you start with 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, but make sure the feet are hip width apart. Then imagine you've got a heavy book on the head. But bring that foot back a little bit further, heel off the floor, heavy book on the head, just pushing you down. So you'll find you don't have to go a long way down. So you'll see people going right down to the floor. You don't actually need to do that to just get those legs working. And it's just that dropping down, and then we'll change sides, okay? If the knees hurt and you don't want to do that, you can sit down, extend that leg forwards and lift. Bring it back in. Extend forwards and lift. And you'll find if you put your hand on your thigh that you're still working those quads. Ready? Off we go. So make sure your feet are wide enough apart that you've got good balance. Imagine you're standing on train tracks rather than a tightrope. So we're getting ready to change. And changing legs. Again, standing on train tracks. He's been pushed straight down. Last 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and stopping there. Everybody still doing okay? If you need a drink, just grab a drink. So the next cardio exercise is the spotty dog that we tried in the warm-up. So opposite arm and leg. If you just get in a bit of a muddle, you can always bring both arms up. Trying to keep it, to make it harder, keep the knees a little bit more bent, and you're just working from a lower position, so you've always got that leg under tension. But otherwise, you're just tucking back and raising forward. Off we go. Again, take it steady. Arms are going overhead, so heart rate can raise. And 30 seconds done. $45 done. And 3, 2, 1, stopping there. So we're going to do the lower body exercise next, because the upper body will just give the shoulders a chance to recover. So we're going to work the hamstrings. Might need to hold on, or you can hold on to a wall. So you're going to stand on one leg, have the other leg behind, and just using balance. Imagine that you've got a seesaw, heel through to the top of your head. If you don't like the look of that one, and you might well not, you can just do hamstring curls. So there are alternatives. And then as you'll find, as you bring the heel up to your bottom, you're contracting those muscles in the back of the thigh. Okay, I'll show you the first one again, just in case you want to try that. Holding onto the chair or to the wall. And then just bringing that leg out, keeping it straight in line with the back, taking it down and changing. It's a slow move. Just trying to hold it at the top and back down. Off we go. Again, I'll just come and watch, check that you're doing okay. Other alternative, heel up to the bottom. Good. So if he's doing the version with the leg out at the back, don't worry about how far it goes, just try and keep it straight and try and keep it in line. So it's better to just do that than it is to do that. Okay? You've done over 30 seconds. Lovely. Last 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, and stop there. Brilliant. So the upper body exercise, we're working the shoulders. I'll show you from seated, but you could equally do it from standing. If you have weights, I'll show you first. So with the knuckles to the ceiling, taking the arms out to shoulder height, coming back down, and then coming out wide. So key thing is to make sure that you're not pulling the shoulders up to the ears. It's just the arms to shoulder height. We'll still do that with band, but you probably have to work one leg, one arm at a time. You come forwards and out to the side. Okay, off we go. So up to the front, either one or both arms out to the side. If you're doing single arm, just try to still make sure that your body stays up really tall. And again, you can do this one body weight only. I dislocated my shoulder earlier in the year, so just doing it with no weight at all, not earlier this year, obviously. Doing it with no weight at all was more than enough of a challenge. And keep breathing. You've done 45 seconds. And relax. So we're on to our last cardio exercise. And we're going back to the swing and sway, which we did in the warm-up. So it's, and again, you can make it harder by increasing the range of movement. Just make it easier by modifying it a little bit. Off we go. Just make sure you're in or around that level 4. So for 30 seconds gone. $45 gone. 3, 2, 1, and circuit bit finished. Very well done. So we're going to come on to some core pelvic floor exercises. We've got about 4 or 5 to do. So if you have got a chair you can use, that will be useful. You could do it on a settee. It's better if it's a sort of a dining style chair. Just give you all a few minutes to get set. If you need to change your cameras, do, but to be honest, there's not a lot to see for certainly for this first one, so it doesn't matter. Let's sit back a little bit. Okay, so seated position, move yourself towards the front third of your chair so that you're not supporting yourself on the back, you're sitting up really tall under your own steam. Again, bring your toes out to 45 degrees, heels out to join them. So that makes sure that you've got your knees and feet hip width apart. So we're going to work the pelvic floor. So to get into position, I'm just going to ask you to rest your elbows down on your thighs. So it should be a fairly comfortable position. And just have your head in line with the rest of your spine. So you're not looking up like that. You just, doesn't matter if you can't see me because there's not a lot to see. So you're just looking at a spot maybe 3-4 feet in front of you. Now, I asked my husband yesterday if I told him to contract his pelvic floor, would he know what to do? And he looked at me like I was mad. So I'm going to assume that we're going to start from scratch, okay? So again, using Pilates visualizations, I want you to imagine that you want to prevent yourself from passing wind. So try and pull up, preventing that wind, that passing wind. Then shift your focus forwards a little bit and imagine that you're trying to stop yourself mid-flow when you're going for a wee. You're going to try and hold that for 3 seconds. Don't worry if you can't get to 3 seconds. And then relax. That might feel a little bit weird to start with. Stick with it. Okay, so again, pulling up, trying to stop yourself passing wind, and then trying to stop mid-flow. And try and hold for 3 seconds. And relax. Now, as you're pulling up, try not to clench the buttocks. So it's got to be an internal squeeze, but you shouldn't feel any change in your position on the chair. And relax. I'm going to see if we can do a few more. Said there wasn't much to look at. We can't actually see that I'm doing anything. Again, pull it up and squeezing in. Hold for 3. And down. So each week we're going to try and hold this for a little bit longer. This is a really good one to practice in the week as well. So even if you don't do anything else, this is a really good one to practice. We'll go for 2 more. So these are known as slow twitch exercises. Okay, so we are going to do some fast twitch, but we're going to do some seated curls first, just so you have a chance to let those muscles relax. To do the curl, we're in that same start position, front third of your chair. Sit up really tall and bring the hands across the chest. Now keep your tummy pulled in, chin slightly onto your chest, and just bring the shoulders back towards the back of the chair. If you can reach the chair, brilliant, but don't worry if you can't. And then squeeze your tummy muscles to bring yourself back up to your sitting position. Keep the feet on the floor, and it could be that when you get halfway, you feel your feet are about to pop up. That's fine. That's, at the moment, that's where you are. So just then sit up from that point. Again, breathe out, leaning back. And breathe in, sitting up tall. We'll do a couple more. We'll do 2 more if you can. Okay, I'm going to turn my chair around because I think that's the fastest twitching muscles now. So again, for the third of your chair, bring your forearms back down onto your knees. Make sure the knees are still hip width apart. You just got that spot about 3 or 4 feet in front of you, so your head's in line with your spine. Make sure you don't hold your breath. So we're going to do that same exercise, but instead of holding for 3 seconds, you're going to try and hold in for a second and out, release. We can see if we can do 10. Don't worry if you can't, it's a starting point, okay? So pulling in, stopping the wind, stopping the flow, and out. Again, straight back up and in, and out. Make sure that the buttocks stay relaxed, and keep breathing. More to go. And relax. Well done. Sitting up nice and tall again. Okay. So the next exercise, we're going to do some body rotation knee bends. So you can either bring your arms across your chest or bring the hands up to the ears. Then just going to turn side to side. Breathing out as you come out to the side, in as you come back to the middle. If you want to make it a little bit harder, just bring the opposite knee off the chair. You're not aiming to get the elbow onto the knee. That's on each way. And back down. And the last one, another oblique one. We're going to do a side bend, but this time if you want to, you can do it with resistance or weight. So you can stay seated, and if you have weights, you can hold a weight in each hand. And it's just a slight move down to the side. So if you are staying on your seat, try and make sure that the weight is equally balanced on both sides so that you're not leaning and tilting, you're firmly planted. If you're standing, feet are width apart still. And there is a nice band alternative for this one as well. So band under both feet. Probably holding on about the knees and then standing up so you have resistance. And again, just side to side. It's not a big movement, you just want to feel that little bit of a stretch in the waist, working the obliques. Try and keep the tummy pulled in, keeping everything in line. Do one more on each side. Fantastic. And then you can put your equipment down. So we're going to do a couple of balance exercises. Quite a few of the ones we've done through the session have been incorporating balance. These are specific for that. So again, hold on either to a chair or to the wall. Imagine this is a bucket of water, and you're going to try and bring one foot off the floor without spilling the water. And it's really slow moves because we want it controlled. And changing sides. And you might find that one side is harder than the other. Out. Back in. One more in each direction. And then the next one I call pendulum. I'm going to show you standing next to the chair. It might be easier if you stand behind the chair just because of the way that the legs move, or we'll stay on one side, it'll be fine. So again, still standing up really tall, toes pulled up, try and bring the leg out to the side. You'll find it doesn't come very far just because we're trying to work this part of the hip. The temptation might be to either do that or to do that. So we're looking to still stand up as tall as you can. Last one on this side. And then change sides, so go to the side of the chair if you need. And come back down. So just tread grapes again, loosen off the hips. So this next balance one is called tandem stance. Looks really easy, it's not. So where I was saying before, imagine you're on train tracks. Now I want you to be on a tightrope. So bring the right foot forward, I'll do it the other way, and bring the heel of the right foot into the toe of the left foot. So it's as if you're standing on a tightrope. Now, if you do feel secure, balanced, you can bring the arms out to the side. But it is quite hard, so just make sure you can grab on again if you need to. Just keep breathing. You might feel the ankles wobbling. That's the message is going from the ankles to the brain to tell you where you are. And change over. So heel right into the toe on the rear foot. Just make sure you've got your balance if you feel safe. Got a bit wobbly there. Bring the arms out. Now, for me, this side's a lot harder than the other side, and you may well find that you've got one side that's easier than the other as well. And back. Brilliant. Okay, so we'll come into a little bit of a stretch. First one isn't necessarily a stretch, but it's kind of quite nice. So arms down by your sides, backs of your hands or palms of your hands are facing the wall behind you. And you're just going to rotate, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And release. This is a really good postural exercise, particularly if you spent a long time just sitting down or leaning over a table. It just gets those shoulders back. 2 more. Then going to move my chair out of the way so we can stretch out the calves for this part of the leg. So you can hold onto a wall here, or you can have your hands on your hips. Take the right foot back, heel off the floor. You're back on train tracks now. And then as you push that back heel into the floor, just let your front knee bend so you've got a straight line heel to the top of your head. If you're using a wall, it looks like that. You should feel the stretch in the calf. And we're going to change sides. So left foot back, heel off the floor to start with. And then just push that heel down into the floor, bending the front knee as you do. And straightening back up. Now both hands on the back of your chair. Take a step back. And then just bend at the elbow, trying to bring your chest parallel to the floor. And push backwards. So you should feel that in the hamstrings. You should feel a good stretch there. So you're trying to keep the back straight. And if you only get to here, that's fine. If you can get the chest parallel to the floor, that's fine too. Just work to your own range of movement. I'll do one more. Okay. And then coming onto the arms, bring your right arm forwards, bring it across the body, and then use your left hand, just hold it in, just above the elbow joint. Try and bring that arm in towards the body. If you want a bigger stretch, push back into your supporting hand. You should feel that. And change sides. So arm forwards, bring it across the body, and then use your other hand to bring it in towards you. Okay, so we'll have both arms forward now, elbows out wide. It's as if you're hugging a big beach ball. And then bring the hands together. Just overlap the fingers, but keep the elbows wide. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, push the back of the hands away from you and just let your chin drop onto your chest. If you keep the elbows wide, you should feel a stretch in your shoulder blades. And then bring your hands onto the small of your back and squeeze the elbows together. Again, if you want a bigger stretch, have your fingers interlinked and squeeze the elbows together. So you should feel that across the front of the chest. Arms back down by your sides. Pull the shoulders up as high as you can. And then just push them all the way down. Breathe in, pull them up. And push down. Next one, we're going to let them drop. And relax. And then big breath in, float the arms up towards the ceiling. Stretch up to the ceiling. And relax back down. Very well done. You've done marvelous.